This ITX build is gonna be one of the most insane builds I've ever done. Hey guys, Daniel Dagan here, and today I've got this really unique ITX build for you that we were able to build for an insane price of only about $450. $449 exactly, I believe. Now, this build, I'm going to be trying to flip it on the Facebook marketplace for at least a $200 profit, which I think we'll be able to secure in just like a week or two. This build looks super unique, so it'll catch the eye of anyone that's looking at it on any listing site that I put it on. We're going to be using the Thermaltake Tower 100 Snow Edition paired with a full-size graphics card and a full-size power supply, which is what makes this case so special. And I was able to get it for $104.98. Hosting an ITX board usually means you'll be hosting an SFF power supply or an ITX power supply. Basically what that means is it's going to be a compact, smaller power supply, but these normally cost a lot more when you're buying them online. Being able to put an ATX power supply in this case means we're able to cut our costs by a lot while still achieving that more compact, small form factor build. But this is something else. This looks more like an Xbox Series X with the way it's orientated vertically. It also has similar cooling design to the Xbox Series X, pulling in cold air from the bottom of the build through the components, making the heat go into the air, which comes out the top of the build. A very efficient cooling solution which will work well with our parts here. Speaking of the parts, I've managed to secure the Ryzen 3 2200G 3.7 max turbo gigahertz 4-core 4-thread CPU for about $49 on Amazon with the stock cooler. This is a really good price for the amount of spec we're getting in this cheap CPU. 4 cores should be able to handle most of today's modern games, especially when paired with this GTX 1070. Now, you only have 4 threads, so don't expect the most performance when it comes to multitasking or multi-core and multi-threaded processing tasks like editing or Photoshop, where you just got a lot more going on. But if we're just gaming and watching YouTube on this thing, it'll handle it no problem. Now, on the graphical side, we've got the GTX 1070 SC edition from EVGA. Now, this thing is no slouch. I used the GTX 1070 from Gigabyte in my last video, and that thing performed super well. I've used GTX 1070s for a while in a lot of my budget-centered builds just because of their good price to performance, because you can find used ones ranging from $70 to $100 on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, any used offering platform service, you'll find a good price on this used GPU. Now, the graphics card doesn't have to be the GTX 1070. As long as you can find a good used graphics card, I'd say at least above a GTX 1060 for $60, ranging to like a used GTX 1080 for about $120 to $130. Those are all good value cards between that price bracket of $60 to $120. Now, if you want something you know you can get for sure, I buy bulk RX 580 cards from AliExpress for like $50 each. Don't hate on these cards and don't hate on AliExpress though, because they have really good deals when it comes to buying PC parts like this. These RX 580s 2048 SP editions offer great value performance, $50, and you're still seeing like the performance of a GTX 1060. Those are really good value. Plus, they're guaranteed and you won't have to watch the used local market around you or the used eBay market because they're always for sale on AliExpress. But enough talking about other options. The GTX 1070 SC from EVGA is the one that we decided to roll with, and man is it a clean card. The double fan design plus the built-in LEDs to give the PC a bit of light really do add to that special, insane, unique atmosphere that this build does have. And also, vertically mounting it in the case gives it a unique look like no other, with the GPU going straight up, and we'll really see those lights. And for the storage, we're going to be using a 500GB SSD from Lexar that I managed to pick up for about $35. $35 in today's market is something that you should expect for a 500 or 512 Gen 3 M.2 SSD. These days, prices are rising and maybe a week or two, actually no, scratch that, a month or two ago, I was able to get these for about $28 to $29. But it's just the times that we're in right now, and hopefully things start to settle down soon. And for memory, we're going to be rocking T-Force's kit of 2 times 8GB sticks clocked at 3200 MHz DDR4. I managed to get this for about $36 on Amazon, which again is a little more than I would like to pay for, but it was the cheapest one that I could find that day. In terms of performance, 16GB of DDR4 is plenty for the budget that we're working with. 60GB in today's day is really good for just general gaming, light gaming, medium gaming, and even some heavy gaming. You only need like 32GB of RAM if you're gonna do some multi-thread processes like editing, heavy workstation stuff, which we don't even have a CPU with more than 4 threads. So 16GB was the perfect amount for this build, and it's gonna work extremely well. 3200 MHz is not bad at all. Now this next component is probably the most important one out of all of them. It's gonna be the motherboard, and it's gonna connect our parts together. It's gonna connect our CPU to the rest of the components, as well as house all of them inside of the case. We got the A520i AC from Gigabyte for only $110. This is a ITX motherboard, so parts are a little more expensive when it comes to ITX builds, so $110 for this AM4 platform is really good, and it has built-in Wi-Fi, which we know we love. Now, what's going to be powering this whole PC? Well, I managed to get this GameMax 600 watt RGB modular power supply for only $8. Now, how did I get that price, you ask? Well, if you watched my last video, you would notice that I managed to get a really good deal for a bulk lot of power supplies from a guy on Facebook Marketplace for only about $8 each, which I know is crazy. But don't worry, if you're not able to secure a deal like this, which is really hard to come by, other good Amazon options include the Pivia Venus series. They have a 500 watt and a 450 watt for $25.99 and $27.99 each, I believe, which are really good deals, and I'd recommend them for this build if you're trying to keep your budget low. And just like that, the build is complete. The culmination of over 3 weeks worth of effort, getting the parts, recording the footage, building the actual PC, and now we're here. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed watching up to this point, and I really want to thank you guys for the support on my first video, and it's fueled me to want to pursue this even more, make better, higher quality videos, and get some more interesting PCs out to you guys, just like this one right here. So I know you guys are probably all wondering, well, you built this PC, how does it perform? I got a lot of feedback on my last video where people were asking me you should putting some benchmarks at the end as well as the total price count. So we're going to be opening Rainbow Six Siege and run the benchmark on there, as well as 3D Mark and run the CPU and graphics benchmark, just to gauge an idea of where this PC stacks up against others, as well as get some rough numbers on any other games that 3D Mark can do the conversion for from the score that we get. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to be jumping straight into it with Rainbow Six Siege in-game benchmark. That's right, your boy's platinum, #Monty main. But anyways, we're going to be using the very high settings on all settings, just so we can push this system to its limit. And the hottest the GPU got was 61 degrees, and the hottest the CPU got was 54 degrees. The PC brought in a pretty good result, actually, considering we only have a 4-core, 4-thread CPU. We were able to get up to 166 FPS average with a high of 207 and lows of 131. If you look at the CPU load percentage graph, you can see, yes, it's at 100%. But if you just throw in $30 more, you could easily upgrade to a Ryzen 4100, which is like double the threads. You're going from 4 to 8, which will dramatically drop that bottleneck number. And for another $20, $30 on top of that, you could go to a Ryzen 5600 and just completely be able to upgrade from there. So the capabilities of the AM4 platform will keep going and going, so you won't have to worry about any upgrades or any issues there. Overall, a solid performance from the PC in Rainbow Six. Let's head into 3D Mark. And it's time to run the 3D Mark Time Spy benchmark and put this PC through the grueling test that is the CPU and GPU stress test. This benchmark pushes the PC to its limit, and we averaged a score of 5,107. Not bad at all. If we look at the score to FPS conversion, let's start out with Battlefield 5, 1080p Ultra, 105 plus FPS. Apex Legends, 1080p Ultra, 140 plus FPS. Going on to GTA 5, 150 plus FPS. Red Dead Redemption 2, this one's really hard to run, 70 plus FPS, no problem, and 215 plus FPS on Fortnite, all of these done at ultra setting. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that, those numbers were correct. We got all of this performance for under $450 with a 4-thread CPU that you can easily upgrade for less than $20 on the same selling platform, Amazon. I mean, this is an insane build. It's ITX insanity. Like, for the budget, usually you would never see an ITX build at this price, and I'm glad that I was able to find this and make it more widespread, and hopefully some of you take this inspiration and make your first step in the ITX journey, because form factor PCs keep going. Trust me, I've got a 3.9 liter gaming PC, and like, I don't think it'll get any smaller, but if it does, I'll be the next one up. I just love small form factor PCs. They're so intriguing to me how you can fit that much performance in a small size. But again, they are pricey. So for $450, being able to build a SFF build, the ITX motherboard, still a full-size power supply, not bad. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I hope it was informative. If you guys liked it, you know what to do. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.